Wednesday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean, the official supermarket of the tailgate this weekend. As I am getting ready to head over to Ingles and fill my entire.
Yeah, it's only Wednesday. You got one more episode. We need the full menu.
I know.
Are you
I'm
ready?
working on it. I know for a fact I'm going to have to go over there and fill my whole cart with berries, which you might think, Kelly, you're going to have a bunch of berries at your tailgate. I have 5 children under 3 attending my tailgate. So it's just a different vibe than normal, Eric McLean. We're going to need a lot of berries.
You have room for 2 more. Obviously, Amelia will be there, but also my cousin Ryan Carson is coming up. His son, who's 6.5 months. This is his first game. So shout out to all the babies in Death Valley. It's going to be like a daycare.
It really is. Yeah, let me know, Mac. I'll just, buy a few more pounds of berries and then we'll be ready to go.
That's perfect.
That's the plan. Pray for us. It's going to be fun. But there's a lot of great games going on this weekend. And I would say one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the ACC is Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. I am so interested in this game, Mac, for a variety of reasons. And we have a very special guest. Please tell us about our guest.
Come on. Well, it was funny. We were going through the different games and we're just like, this does feel vibey. It feels like it could have some opportunity, to be a really big game here. And so, we're settling on that. And I'm like, we got to get my guy, Jamal Haynes. I mean, he is too good not to be on this podcast. He's so electric on the field, but also off. This guy is a great representative of Georgia Tech, and we had him obviously at Media Day, and he was fantastic. We had Zeke Biggers, who's 7 foot tall, and then we had Jamal Haynes, who's 4 foot tall, and it was the funniest thing ever to see those guys. Hey, he's good. He's like 4'1". My bad. He's super tall. But he is a big personality. He's a big personality. And we had him on the huddle after it was his birthday. We celebrated, got him some birthday cake, and his parents were there. Mom delivered it on the set. And so I knew this would be a grand slam, and it absolutely was. We had so much fun in this interview, not only talking about him and getting back and having these great games, but also just Georgia Tech and what this team's doing and kind of their big focal points. So you're going to love this interview. We surely did. Quickly, a message from our friends over at Ingles, and then we'll sit down and talk with Jamal.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Jamal Haynes, my man, great to see you again. Last time we were in person, we were celebrating a birthday, and you just going absolutely crazy against Duke. You've been on a tear, man. You're healthy. You look good. How's the season going so far, man?
Season's been going great. Like you said, just back healthy, coming off the bye week. So been trying to really get back to the Georgia Tech football, brand of football that we know, and it's been rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and coming off a big win. We're going to get to all that, Jamal. We're going to look ahead to this massive Notre Dame game. I want to ask you, though, a big picture question here, because you came to Georgia Tech as a wide receiver. You redshirt your first year, play wide receiver, don't play as much. And then in 2023, you decide to make the switch. And during fall camp, you go from wide receiver to running back. And then you become Georgia Tech's first 1,000-yard rusher in 6 years after you just switch to running back? How does that happen? Please walk me through kind of this evolution that you've been down.
Honestly, I know coming into Tech, yes, like you said, I was a wide receiver. Really just hard work. Ever since I really came to Tech, I always been one of those hard workers. Rather I was playing on the field on Saturdays, or rather I was on scout team, just really getting my teammates better. I know a few coaches from that past team that will definitely tell me, like, take your scout team rep seriously, because you're not only helping the team, but you're helping yourself. Just grinding day in and day out, it really put me in a position to be able to change positions and be able to go to running back, or have that chance to go to a different position and actually excel at it just off the work ethic. But just really switching positions, it's really been a blessing. Coach Faulkner, Coach McKenzie, Coach Key, they all agreed on how we can really get myself involved inside the offense, and it's been working out for the best lately.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worked out for the best. Jamal, what is the biggest difference for you between playing wide receiver and playing running back?
Wide receiver, you really have to worry about the person that's guarding you and really the second level. Moving into the backfield, now you're talking about the whole line of scrimmage. You're talking about the wide receivers being included into that with blocking schemes and whatnot. So it's really all about getting to that second level. That's really been the biggest difference from wide receiver to running back.
Do you have a comp for yourself, man? Like, do you have somebody that you try to model your game after that you think you play similar to?
When I was at wide receiver, I used to love modeling my game, or not really modeling my game, but more of modeling my play style after Tavon Austin, when
Oh
he was
man,
playing back at
a
West
great one.
Virginia. Yeah, the great one. But lately, since moving to running back, everybody knows I'm a huge Saints fan. So uh, Alvin Kamara has really been one of those running backs I've been looking at lately, or not even lately, just always been looking at just to model my game after. The way he can be
Yeah.
so versatile, catching the ball out the backfield and running inside the tackles is just great to see.
Yeah, you're just a weapon, man, and it's fun to see. You know, when you have those games that you are super involved in the offense, a lot of different ways, not just running the ball, but you have that ability to just take over a football game. And man, I look specifically at this last weekend, and rushing for 170 yards, having a walk off, straight up the middle, 68 to the crib to win it all. Just can you walk us through that play, literally from when it was called to when you were lining up? And when you touched it and took it to the crib, take us through the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually take it back to the first half. It was closing into the first half. I just remember one of my coaches. It was like, "Hey, we just need a big play right here. Just get us in some field position." I remember getting that ball. I ended up reversing the field. We got in field position. Coming back to the end of the game, we were kind of seeing ourselves in the same situation again, where it's like, "Hey, we need a big play right here." Me, I hear a run called, so I'm like, "Hey, what we doing? We need to get the ball up the field." And he called a run play. But my guard, he came, he kicked, my tackle, he inserted, and it just parted like the Red Sea. I just seen daylight, and I just hit it.
Did you
That
think, like, when you hit it, when you saw that, were you just thinking, "There's no way this is happening right now"? And because it was all green grass. I mean, I finally got to see like the back angle, and I'm just like, "This is incredible."
At some point, I'm not gonna lie, when I was running, I was like, "No way, this is happening." I think I remember myself looking up at the scoreboard just to make sure nobody was near me. Then I remember refocusing and just heading on towards the goal line. But it definitely was a moment that crossed my mind, like, "No way, like this joint just sprung."
Yeah, and I think everyone watching that game thought that. I honestly, when UNC scores, I'm thinking, all right, overtime. This thing's going to go to overtime, and you said absolutely not. I'm going to end it right here. Jamal, your last two games, you've had 19 carries in each. You went for 128 against Duke and 170 against North Carolina. Has something? I know you had a bye week after Louisville going into Duke, but has something changed? Has something clicked? Like, tell us why you've just been on a tear these last 2 weeks.
I can say during the bye week, I was a little hard on myself just as far as where the team was going in the run game. I mean, I know being on offense, you have to play complementary football. That's as far as just being able to run and pass the ball. And our run game, let's call it how it is. It wasn't showing up for a couple of games, and I just really took a big part of that. And I really honed in on really getting my body healthy during the little bye week that we had, and came back ready to go.
I love that, man. I think, talking with your coach too, Coach Key, it has to be cool having a guy like that is going to, that's like a point of emphasis for him, dominating the line up front and then having that run game. But walk me through a little bit deeper, like knowing that he wants that and knowing that he is that point of emphasis. How is that for you as a running back?
Oh, it's great to see as a running back. As y'all know, Coach Key is a former offensive lineman, so
Yep.
the physicality in the trenches is definitely going to be there. But just to know that you have a head coach supporting the run game is definitely a great feeling. And then as far as just how we want to approach things, he has an attack mindset. So if you have a leader that has an attack mindset, it obviously sheds down onto the team. So it's a great leader to have as a team, and I love Coach Key.
And you and your quarterback, Haynes King, besides sharing a name in some kind of way, shape, or form there, you guys seem to really complement each other well, have a good relationship. We know he got hurt a little bit against North Carolina. We're hoping to see him play against Notre Dame. But tell us a little more about your relationship with your fellow Haynes.
Ah, Haynes, what a great guy. Just to start out, just a great character guy, great high character guy. A guy that can talk to anybody in the locker room. Anybody can come up to him and have a conversation. and that's on and off the field. A great leader, and then just the relationship between me and him. I mean, it's really grown over the year, especially since last year it was our first year playing together. But just coming back onto this year, it's grown even tremendously, even more. Just being in the backfield with such a leader is also a great thing because we're talking about a guy that he could take a 70 himself if he wanted to. So just being able to be back there with a versatile player like that is definitely special.
Can you walk me through, like, what is it like for you when it is a read call, when it's like a zone read or whatever type of deal, and how you get that amount of trust that it might be the very last second you're like, this is my ball, and then you feel it being pulled? Like, how do you get to the point of that trust and do it and execute so flawlessly?
Practice, reps, and repetition. Every day we go through this little segment called ball polish where we're having a QB running back exchange every single day. And that goes on for about 15, 20 minutes throughout the practice. So we're really having him ride the ball all the way down just to make sure that the meshes is clean between the handoffs. So that's how we
Hmm.
really get good practice reps at it. So practice makes perfect. And in
Yeah.
game, he trusts me if he hands it, and I trust him if he pulls it. So it's a big trust game right there.
Where is kind of the point of no return? Like, is it
Mhm.
a couple of steps with it in your belly? Like, when do you know for sure, okay, this is my ball?
Usually when I'm at the feet of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
When I hit the O lineman's heels, that's when I usually know, all right, yeah, he's about to hand
Yeah.
this ball. I need to start making my reads and start making
All
my
right,
cuts.
perfect.
I'm already, yeah,
Hey, Haynes,
yeah.
let it go, big dog. Let me get
Let it
this. Let
go,
me
big
get this
dog.
one time.
Yeah, yes,
So
sir.
literally the last second, which is what makes it so hard to defend and also hard to execute, I imagine, if you don't have those reps. Like you said, when we look at this game, Jamal, Notre Dame coming to town, I mean, massive matchup for so many different reasons. Going to be one of the biggest games of the weekend, 3:30 on ESPN. It's one people are going to be watching. Before we get into the matchup, what is it like for you as a player where you play at Bobby Dodd most of your games? This one's at Mercedes Benz. Is there a difference there? Is there a difference in preparation? All the like just peel us behind the curtain a little bit there of what goes into that.
Me personally, from a mindset view, it's just the next game. It's
Okay.
just the next opponent that's in the way that we need to get a win over. But as a team standpoint, it's one of those things where obviously the circumstances might be different just of where we play, but not how we prepare. How we
Mm.
prepare should absolutely be the same, and where we playing shouldn't really matter as far as location. But the preparation of things should still be the same. We still need to hone in on the details. We still need to make sure that we trust our coaching, and we definitely have to be disciplined this Saturday.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And, it is cool. I know playing in NFL stadiums and y'all just having that right down the street. I mean, it's a beautiful place. And I know that's a lot of fun for you guys. Looking at this matchup specifically, offensively, you guys are really similar. Like, you both want to run the football, you both want to control the clock, have quarterbacks that can run and be very dynamic in that way. But how about defensively? What have you seen so far from Notre Dame? What do you guys expect to have to do out there to execute?
Well, just to start off, this is a very well coached team. That's just from the start. You can tell this is a program where they really preach on attitude and effort. That's just all based off film. I don't know any guys on Notre Dame, but that's just based off what I see. We're talking about guys that really fly to the ball. They really have great effort surrounding the ball, making sure that 11 hats are to the ball. So just being able to play a really good team and a really good defense is a really great opportunity for our offense to really try to excel and try to execute what we have going on.
And what kind of confidence does the last two wins give you, Jamal? The win over Duke and North Carolina. Those were close games going into the fourth quarter, and you guys closed them out. Weren't able to do that at Syracuse, but it feels like you've almost fixed that a little bit. Where's the confidence level there when you get to a fourth quarter and you're in a close game, which this one very well could be?
It de- like ball polish. It kind of starts in practice. So after the Syracuse loss, we definitely came back and detailed up the fourth quarter energy, the
Mm.
fourth quarter finishing, and how we wanted to finish games and put teams out. Um, I could definitely say, just from that standpoint, we definitely had to grow from a team. We definitely had to grow from a team, and we took those steps, and now we have that confidence just coming off of two wins, just to have some momentum going into Notre Dame and have a little bit of fire up, a fire for us.
Yeah. Last one for me, Jamal. It's really is fun to watch you play. You're one of my favorite players just to watch play college football. The excitement, the swag, the celebrations, and honestly, how hard you work. And I know what all goes into it. Where does that all come from, man? Just your genuine appreciation for the game of football. Where does that come from?
Growing up, I have to say it really all started with my mom and my brothers, and then my pops kind of like lead it in too. So, my mom, yeah, as y'all know, played football for a pro team. My pops played football. My two older brothers, they also played football. But the love of the game just grew over the years, and then the passion for the game is just it's just something about being around a group of guys that have a common goal that you want to achieve, and everybody makes sacrifices. Everybody has to do their job, and when it all comes together, it's just a great thing to see, honestly.
Yeah,
When
I
you,
actually lied. You just sparked me on something because I remember
yeah,
your mom being there
amazing.
when we were celebrating your birthday and your pops. What is that like for you, man? For them to be there? I know, I'm sure they're at every home game, maybe every away game, but what is that support like, and what does that mean to you to have that?
It's a surreal feeling, man. It's a surreal feeling, especially when you make a big play and you just see your parents clapping. It lets you know it was all worth it. It was all worth it. The long drives to football camps, the countless hours they would spend sitting in the stadium just watching me go out there and try to perform or try to get a scholarship. Um, the countless hotels they had to pay for. It's just all-star games. It's a lot of sacrifice that parents have to go through, but to see them happy and supportive, still at my games to this day is just a great feeling.
Okay, Jamal, I have to ask because your mom knows ball, obviously. Did you ever see there was a video going around maybe a couple months ago of a mom who I think was legitimately in church clothes or was like coming home from work, putting her son, who was a D lineman, through drills in the backyard? I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it? Okay. Was that your mom? Like, was she out there throwing the ball with you? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so my mom, we actually have a pretty big backyard, and we actually have a lake around our house. But yeah, she used to make me run. I actually used to get up, and there's like the store that's right around my crib. But anyways, I used to run all the way to the store, and she usually like hop in her car, throwing her hazards, and I'm sitting there running as I'm running to the store. So it's definitely great to have that support right there. But she was definitely one of those ones that get me up and get working.
The
Boy,
Rocky
mom,
music
goals.
blasting. That's right. That's
I have a
right.
boy, Jamal. I'm ready. I need to talk
It's
to your mom
coming.
about some drills. Let's go.
It's coming.
Oh man, Jamal, you're the best, brother. Keep being a shining light, man. Keep balling, and we're excited to watch it each and every Saturday, man. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely appreciate you, Eric. It's a pleasure meeting you, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Jamal Haynes for joining us. And Mac, he may be shorter than you, but he definitely has more hair than you. And I am just going to stand up for Jamal in this
Hey,
because
he's not lacking any confidence. I don't have to worry about any of
no,
that.
no,
I don't
no.
have to
He's
worry about any
good.
of that.
He's good to go. He's good to go. And then they're going to need him in this game. Number 12, Notre Dame travels to Georgia Tech. The number has jumped. Notre Dame opened at an 8.5 point favorite. They're now an 11 point favorite as of Tuesday afternoon, as of this recording. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN in Mercedes Benz, which, is a little different, of course, and maybe a bigger crowd and maybe some more Notre Dame fans, honestly, because it's in Mercedes Benz, maybe a little more of a neutral feel. When you look at this game, I think the big question we're all wondering is Haynes King, right? What's his status? What's his injury status? This is what Coach Key said. He said he's a tough kid. He's day to day right now. He's going to be out there at practice on Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the week progresses. It's that time of year. Everybody's banged up. So survival of the fittest at this point. That seems good because you're not completely ruling him out of the game.
Right.
And you do have Zach Pyron, who has played. Like, you don't have
He's
a
a
guy
vet.
who's just
He's a vet.
never played.
Right.
But it feels like to beat Notre Dame, you need Haynes King. I think that's
Yeah.
fair to say.
Yeah. No, no question. Number one, just from like, this is our guy, like confidence
Yeah.
standpoint, we feel like, we can beat anybody, we can do anything, when you have that type of guy on the field. But then, secondly, just what he brings to the table from a play, from a production standpoint. I mean, this guy, has 6 rushing touchdowns, moves in the pocket really well, doesn't take sacks. They have the one, which we fought for. We fought to get that taken off of there. But it stayed on. Only has 1 interception. I mean, he just doesn't
Yeah.
make mistakes. He
That's been
doesn't,
an improvement.
does silly things. It is. So, and again, as you mentioned, Zach Pyron, if he ends up being the guy, super confident. He's a big guy. He can clearly run the ball. Comes in as kind of the short yardage packages, and has been a healthy dose of let's get it and go. And he has 4 rushing touchdowns. So from that standpoint, will be interesting to see how much does kind of the game plan change. He's only thrown it 7 times this year, but again, this is a guy that a handful of years ago, or maybe even last year, was right there neck and neck for the quarterback battle, and was potentially going to be a starter. And guess what? He could have went anywhere else, but he decided to stay. And I think there's something to that. And I think that his loyalty to, Georgia Tech, if called upon this weekend, I think he'll be in a really good spot. But the name of this game is going to be get Jamal Haynes the ball as many and often as you can. And how can you do it? How strategically can you do it? This is going to be a big a big defensive line from Notre Dame. This is going to be a very fun matchup to watch. The line of scrimmage on both sides. How are they able to do, and what are they able to win the matchups accordingly? But you got to get that guy involved. And, it'll be interesting to see the passing. If Haynes isn't able to go, Notre Dame has hurt a lot of people, specifically Benjamin, Morrison there, a guy that is expected to be a top 10 pick at corner. So that's a massive blow. If Georgia Tech can and wants to throw the ball, I would go right to whoever's in for him and say, let's see what you got. And let's see if you can guard Malik Rutherford or Eric Singleton or whoever, we want to throw out there.
Yeah, and Benjamin Morrison being out for the season is a real bummer, obviously, for him and for Notre Dame.
Yeah,
so there is
player.
that. He's All-American for the Irish. And to your point, Mac, we'll see. It's hard to speculate. If I feel like knowing Haynes King, if he can go, he will go. Without a doubt, especially for this game.
Especially against these guys.
Yeah, especially for this game. My biggest question is if you want to play a little more of a ball control, run the football game, which of course Georgia Tech wants to run the ball. That's what they do. What can your defense do? That's my big question, because this defense for Georgia Tech has still been a little bit of an issue, even though of course Georgia Tech's off to a great. They're 5-2 for a team that I think their win total on the season was maybe 5 or 5.5. Right. So they're off to a great start, and they've played a tough schedule, but containing Riley Leonard is the name of the game. He has 6 passing touchdowns on the season, 2 picks, but he has 8 rushing touchdowns, 65 carries for 405 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. He is just a monster with his legs. And Georgia Tech's coming off a game where they gave up 73 rushing yards to Jacoby Criswell, the UNC quarterback, and 2 touchdowns. That's my big question. You've got to contain Riley Leonard, which very few teams have been able to do. Northern Illinois did it. Sorry, Notre Dame fans. But it really feels like, in all seriousness, Notre Dame has turned a corner. They're playing really good football right now. Yeah. But, Mac, I would say this too about Notre Dame. I know they lost to Northern Illinois at home. They've played really well lately, but they've played a lot of home games. This is Notre Dame going on the road. It might feel a bit more neutral site in Mercedes Benz, but at least they're not on their home field. I think that'll be a factor.
Right. No, you're right. Traveling and doing all these things involved. And, it's funny. We mentioned this a little bit with Jamal, but these teams are very similar in regards to what they want to do, how they want to do it, ground and pound, use our big, quarterback to run the ball. Again, establish that, get it going, up front and make our offense feel really good. So to me, how do you defend it knowing that he's their leading rusher attempts wise? Like, he's going to run the football. You have to be prepared for that. You have to have a plan. That means an extra hat. That means an extra blocker. So it's not just standard procedure. Oh, our base defense will take care of it. No, they won't. That's not what you're going to be able to do. You need to have assignment type football, KG, where I would put Kyle Eford and say, that's your guy. You see that pretty looking quarterback over there? All night long, wherever he goes, you go. Assignment football. If it's the option, you hit him. You don't take the running back. If he's rolling out, you hit him. You're not covering whatever. That's your assignment. And if he's running quarterback power, you're right there. You're not looking at any other key other than knowing where 12 is. And so that's what I would do literally all night long until, if they just start passing it all over the yard and we're just a man short, adjust accordingly. But I don't even know if Notre Dame physically can do that. So that's what I would do. Obviously, easier for me to sit here and say that than to go out there and have to tackle Riley Leonard. That guy is a monster and has great speed, great, just strength and athleticism. I mean, he breaks tackles left and right. Big friend of the show. Love Riley. Love Riley. Sad he left the ACC, but he's been on a lot and is a heck of a player. So that's the attack that I would try to have, KG, and almost force them to throw, right? Like, I'm stacking the box. Yeah. I'm making it very advantageous for us. From a numbers standpoint, and let's just see. I mean, let's see if Riley can throw it for 300 yards. I don't even know if Notre Dame would try that,
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. I would sell out for it. And just for reference, Riley Leonard has played 1 game against Georgia Tech. That was back in 2022. Georgia Tech, this was Brent Key's 2nd ever game as the interim head coach, I believe. Georgia Tech beat Duke 23-20 in overtime on October 8th, 2022. Riley Leonard was 20 of 41 for 136, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 9 carries for 29 yards, sacked 3 times. So whatever you take into account there, he obviously wasn't playing behind. Well, that do-go line when Riley was there was pretty darn good.
I was about to say, don't sleep on it.
Let me hold back my comments there. We will make our official picks on Friday, especially when we have a little more idea, perhaps, if Haynes King is going to play. I'm not sure we'll really know. But I think if Haynes King plays, I would lean towards Georgia Tech covering this number. But if he doesn't, I really just don't know what to expect.
It'll be interesting to keep track with the number. Just what does it look like when we do our show, leading into it on Friday? How much has it moved? It's gone. It's open at 8.5. It's at 11 right now. As more information comes out, that will be interesting just to kind of trend line, see where that goes and where it ends up. But great episode. Big shout out to Jamal. Did you want to say something? I saw your hand raised.
Well, I was going to say what will also be interesting.
Cut me off.
No,
don't raise your
I
hand.
know.
You got to stop it. You got to stop it.
I'm coming in. Hello. What will also be interesting is what the underdog numbers are on this game.
Yeah.
The game is not up on the app yet. Again, this is Tuesday afternoon. Right. It will be soon. If you're interested in some ACC action there, the BC Virginia Tech game is already up there because that's a Thursday night. So check that one out. But I know that it will be popping up there soon on the underdog app. So make sure you use our code GMPOD, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And I would say, Mac, whatever Jamal Haynes' number is, I think I'd go higher there. And Riley Leonard rushing touchdown. Unless they have him over or higher than 1.5. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see where he's at. We'll talk about that on Friday.
I agree. There's some things that have held relatively true. Jamal Haynes higher than the rushing number. If a team is playing Cal, lower than the passing number. Things of this nature, you have
interception.
Found.
The quarterback's going to throw a pick.
Right. That's right. It's just going to happen. So pay attention to these trends. Hopefully we'll continue this here. 14 of 17 last weekend.
Mac, that's impressive.
Let's try to get something going.
I would have gone 3 for 3 if I didn't fat finger it. Ugh.
That's what I was going to say. Just make sure. Let's all read. Let's go slow when we're making our picks.
Love it.
Let's go slow and let's read.
Good
I promise I'll do that too. Anyway, appreciate you guys always. Big shout out to Jamal Haynes and to Georgia Tech for hooking us up. It was such a great episode. He's a fantastic, as I mentioned, representative of Georgia Tech and a lot of fun to talk to. Excited to see him this weekend, see what the Yellow Jackets are able to do in Atlanta. But we appreciate you guys always. Need you to go over to YouTube, subscribe, jump on this channel, jump on this journey with us. It's so much fun. Jump in the comments. Tell us about your mom growing up. I want to know about boy moms everywhere. Did they teach you football? Were they out there busting their butt, doing drills with you? Give us some examples of what you've seen there and what you watch. And, of course, the OGs over on SiriusXM and Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. But until next time, we'll see y'all.